eagle vision. In the internal martial arts, we use a different way of looking. Basically, it's the way that eagles see their prey, or the way that reptiles see in general, especially snakes. There's a big correlation between birds and snakes, of course, in nature. A lot of people think that if they focus upon something, they'll see it better. Well, of course, if you're painting or you're writing to someone, you have to focus upon what your pen's doing. When you're fighting against someone, it's a totally different matter. In fact, there's an old Chinese saying that I like to remember, and it goes something like, if you look, this is a direct translation, you will lose. In other words, if you focus upon something, you will lose, because it takes time to focus upon something. So, for instance, punch is coming here, I have to turn, look at it, and then decide what I'm going to do. But if I'm using eagle vision, punch comes here, pow! I react to it without looking at it, because I can see it. You can see much more using your firstly peripheral vision and later eagle vision. Eagle vision is not, well, it's a sort of peripheral vision, but it's much more advanced than just using your peripheral vision. A lot of people don't even know that they can, when I'm looking at the camera here, I can focus upon the camera. But here's my, if I then look to my sides, it looks like I'm looking at the camera now, but I'm not. I'm looking out here now. And you have almost 180 degrees vision. Now I can see the two windows out here. I can see the trees moving out of the windows over here. I'm not focusing upon them. I couldn't tell you, maybe, I know the trees are green, but if it was something else, I probably couldn't even tell you what exact color it was, but I can see the object moving. And that's all you have to do when you're using eagle vision. Because it's not just seeing out here and then, oh, there's something coming here, I must do something with it. Eagle vision goes much deeper than that. It goes right into a subconscious or internal level. But first of all, of course, we have to start off training our peripheral vision in order to not first look at something and then do something. In all of our training methods, it's very difficult sometimes teaching people to get out of this habit of firstly looking and then doing. Because we're so used to doing that in our daily lives. We want to pick up a cup, we look at it, pick it up, don't we? One of the training methods I tell people is, next time you pick up a cup to make a cup of tea or something, don't look at it. I'm just looking here, I can see the cup down here, I'll put my hand down and pick it up. You might get a couple of broken cups to begin with, but you'll get the hang of it. And you'll find that pretty soon you'll literally be able to go and pick up the cup without going, oh, where's the cup? Oh. Light switches as well. You're going out of the room at night, look at the door. You know the light switch is there. You can see it basically out of your peripheral vision. First of all, do it slowly, but then get the speed up. When you're walking out of the door, pa! Turn the light switch on. Every time I turn the light switch off, I do it that way. I've broken many light switches and caused many short circuits in my houses. Doing that, because it's, they're not the hardiest of things. If you hit them too hard, even with a finger, because your fingers can get very powerful, of course. And using your peripheral vision, you do gain a whole lot more power, because you're not thinking, oh, where is it? Oh, I'm going to hurt my finger. It's just, bah! Turn off that light switch. That's just one of the training methods that we use. There are others, of course, using partners. So we have to get used to retrain ourselves I wouldn't advise driving a motor car using a peripheral vision. Please don't tell anyone that Earle Montague said to do that when you have an accident. But however, I quite often do that myself. You're just driving along, you don't look at the corner. You can see the corner perfectly well, just turn it and just follow the car, or don't sort of look to where you're going. That's what I do sometimes. It's exactly the same thing, retraining your mind to see what it really can see rather than what it focuses upon. It's the reverse I get of, I guess, of tinnitus. A lot of people have tinnitus. That's that ringing in the ears. Everyone in the world has ringing in the ears. It's just normal feedback, as through an amplifier. It's just that most people, luckily enough, your brain filters out that feedback and only allows you to hear the noise that you want to hear, what you're listening to. But we all have this feedback, the ringing in the ear. Some people's brains can't do it, so they have tinnitus or ringing in the ears. And they want to get rid of that peripheral sound. But it's the opposite when you're trying to learn about eagle vision. We want to gather, not the sound so much, but the vision. We want to gather the vision that we don't normally see. It's much quicker. Someone's literally throwing a punch, you've already seen the move. And in the internal martial arts, of course, I'm not going into the way of fighting just yet, but in the internal martial arts, one of the most important things is don't wait for the attacker to move. Hit him before, as he moves firstly, and then even before he moves, when he's even thought about it. Every mind puts out electrical signals using the training, internal training methods, push hands, etc. Small sensor, large sensor. We can train ourselves to literally know what the person's going to do when they think about it, rather than when they do it. So the golden rule is, BOW! Then you can turn to your partner, or to your attacker rather. So we move as the opponent moves, not waiting to block something. That's two moves, you see. And we use our peripheral vision. If we didn't use peripheral vision, we couldn't do it. Because we'd first of all have to look at what the opponent's doing. Never fight. The golden rule with using eagle vision is never fight the peripheral that's being poked out towards you. Someone's throwing a punch at you. What most people in most schools are taught is, look at the punch, block that punch, re-attack, and so on. You'll get beaten doing that every time. That's why so many so-called hardstylists get beaten by someone who literally just rushes at them, like a grappler or something. They get beaten because they're so used to looking. As soon as you look, it's in your face, you've been defeated. Someone rushes at you, bah! You react without looking. Then you can, as you're throwing a volley of attacks upon that attacker, then you can turn your face and look at whatever you want. You still stay in eagle vision, of course, but you can turn your head then, but once you've defeated the person. So that's the first area. That's the first door into getting into eagle vision. That's just the physical part of it, learning to retrain your mind to see everything that happens around you. An excellent training method that I like to teach my students is, I get them to focus upon, for instance, okay, I've got the camera here. I look over here and I see we've got a set of congas here. This room's full of musical instruments, actually. For those of you who know me, we have a really excellent, even though I do say that so myself, blues and jazz band with my children and myself, and there's musical instruments everywhere. Anyway, we've got a set of congas over here. I can actually turn my head and look at the congas. I'm physically looking at them now. That's what I tell people to do. I even get them to turn. Might be standing up or something, or it might be a tree, for instance. So a tree, you might be outdoors, you might focus upon a tree over there. I'm looking at the congas. Now, without turning my head to look back to the camera here, I tell people, okay, now Look at the camera. Okay, I'm now looking at the camera. I can actually see the camera here. I couldn't tell you who's on it if I didn't know it was me, but I can see the camera now. Now my mind has turned my vision to the camera. Although I haven't turned my eyes are still over here. Now I'm back to the congas. And what you'll find is, fighting takes a few seconds. Fights don't last long. Real fights don't last long. But you'll find, it's like those little things, those little scientific drawings that people used to give you, and you say, what does that look like? You say, oh, it looks like a vase. And keep looking at it, and all of a sudden it changes to two people facing each other. And then all of a sudden, it's changed back to a vase again, because that's the concentration span that your mind has. And so if I'm looking at the camera now, I'm still looking at it. Now I'm back to the congas, you see. Now I'm looking at the congas. I've got to then tell my brain, look at the camera. Okay, I'm looking at the camera now. Now I'm back to the congas. So that's the main training method that we have to train this peripheral vision, to retrain your subconscious mind to look at things that are to your side while still looking this way, you see. Because you haven't got, in the street, let me tell you, through my own experience, you literally have not got the time to go, what's happening here? Who's attacking me? I saw this silly fight in the street just the other day. It was a bit of road rage. Someone leapt out of his car and this guy was just walking on the road. He was coming at him from the side, and the guy saw this guy coming at him, screaming obscenities at him as he was coming. The guy's first mistake was, what's happening? What's happening? That's not a good way of defending yourself. This guy was coming very quickly. He was there, and then he was here on the... He was actually headbutting the guy. He didn't know how to headbutt. He didn't actually hurt the guy. Had he known how to headbutt, the guy would have been out cold. But anyway, that's what happened. Had the guy been walking along, been using his eagle vision, it would have been, bah! He could have taken this guy out in an instant because he didn't have to first turn, focus on him, and then try to decide what to do. In the internal martial arts, we don't decide what to do. We allow our body and the training, the immense training that we do with partners and without, to subconsciously tell us what to do in any situation. A lot of hardstyle martial arts train you in techniques. You learn technique, you will lose. Because when learning technique, it's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't work. Or it's like trying to use a technique-orientated martial art against a totally illogical way of fighting. And that's what happens in the street. I'm not interested in teaching people how to fight in tournaments to win trophies. I'm interested, however, in teaching people how to defend themselves. Martial arts and self-defense are two different things. A martial art is not a self-defense art until it has been turned into a self-defense art. And eagle vision is an integral part of that. So we don't think we never ever, as soon as you look at something, that indicates that you're thinking about what to do. You do not think about what to do. So you must never think about anything. I'm standing here, someone's coming in from the side. Bah, bah! Your body will take the training that's gone internally and cause you to react to that oncoming attack with the correct movements. No techniques. The techniques have gone subconscious. As soon as you think about, oh, what am I going to do? I'll block that, you're defeated. But you've done the work, of course, to train your body with eye gouges, neck strikes, one knuckle punch, bah, elbows, back fists, and so on. You've done all of the work, and your body will naturally do it, depending upon what the person's doing. The old Tai Chi classic of, you must feel the person's weight It doesn't mean how heavy he is, of course. It means the amount of power that the person has coming to you and the way he is coming to you will dictate how you react to the person. In other words, what he's doing causes us to move subconsciously to defeat him. So he's really helping us in an odd sort of way, of course. And the peripheral vision, of course, and the eagle vision is the most integral part of that. You can't do it, in fact, if I weren't using eagle vision. Now, as I said before, eagle vision goes a whole lot further than that. I'll get back to that in a minute. There's another little training method that I always like to teach people, especially if you've got a partner. And when I'm holding workshops and so on, I get two people standing opposite each other. I get one person to stand 45 degrees away. There's the partner there. I'm standing 45 degrees away. And I'll just get my finger. First of all, I'll get them to focus and then touch the person on the tip of the nose. Okay, now I'll say, look out this way and don't turn your head, but now touch the person on the nose again. And 90% of the time, even first up, people will be getting it. Oh, that's amazing. As soon as you go to look at it, you might miss it, you see. And be very careful of people's eyes, of course, and you get this going faster and faster until finally, you can go like that fast, and you can actually touch the person on the nose that fast without poking him in the nose. You just touch it gently, of course, and that's all a part of your eagle vision. You know exactly the right amount of power for the right job. If you're attacking someone, of course, you'd go right through it into the eyes. But because you're training, of course, it's just you'll touch them on the nose. When I was holding a workshop in America one year, everyone was getting it right, and I thought, gee, this is funny. These people are really good. Now I noticed, because of people's inherent will to help each other, someone might have been pointing to someone's nose like this, and I saw the recipient going like this, putting his nose onto the finger for them. I said, okay, well, you can't do it that way. You just stand still, of course. Like that, right onto the nose. And that's another excellent training method that we use. And that's a more realistic training method as well, because you're using a human being, and that's what you would be, of course, fighting against. Your peripheral vision, of course, comes into all of your healing art as well, especially the medical taiji when you're trying to heal someone else. Because when you use peripheral vision, you're not thinking about, put something in. As soon as you do that, tension, the chi is blocked. There's your person you're working upon. You might be working the shoulders or the whole body or something like that. You might be putting needles in, you might be massaging or something. You're not focusing upon it. You should be able to find the points, even if you're a blind person. You should be able to find the points by feel anyway. It's another thing of the internal martial arts, martial healing arts. They teach you to become so sensitive that you can actually pick up very minute electrical EMF or electromotive forces within the body. You run your hand and it's like a dragging sensation when you run your hand over it, so you can find the points without focusing upon it. You heal someone a whole lot better if you're just looking out here and just using your hands to do the work for you. It's exactly the same, isn't it, as fighting someone. That's why I always say the healing art and the martial art can never be divorced. They go hand in hand. As soon as you take one away from the other, you don't do either very well. So the next step is to go into eagle vision. And now this is a little bit more advanced, and it comes with the training that we do. And it's just the normal training, qigong, taiji form, two-person sets, etc., etc. Now this involves what the eagle does. The eagle's hovering up here, and he sees a little mouse, a mile down there, from using his eagle vision, of course. And what does he do? Picks up the mouse. Even if the mouse starts moving, the eagle will move and grab the mouse. It can grab a fish out of the water. How does it do that? There's something more than just seeing here that's involved. It's called locking your own energy onto the space that your opponent takes up. So we're now not looking at, we've taken a little bit further, we're not blocking the peripheral, we're not even blocking the body of the person that's attacking you. We're now reacting against the space in time that that body takes up. And when you can lock your own energy, your own body space, the space that your body takes up, onto the space that your attacker's body takes up, the least movement that your opponent makes will make you move in some way. Because you are, it's like you're attached to that, it's like you're, okay, we're going to handcuff our hands together, I'm going to stiffen them up, and if he moves that way, he'll cause me to move. If he moves that way, he'll cause me to move. He moves over there, I have to go with him. That's exactly what it's like, except we are using our energy, our chi, to lock our two spaces together. You can only do it using eagle vision. So the eagle's coming down the mouse, it moves that way. The eagle doesn't think, oh, hang on, the mouse has turned left, I'd better turn left. Too late, the mouse is gone. The eagle moves at the same time. You notice fish in a swarm. Why do they go 5,000 fish and they're all moving at precisely the same time? They don't go, oh, the leader's turned, like that. They all turn at the same time. Why is that? Because they're using this method of locking each other up. So it's not individual fish anymore, it's 5,000 fish as one unit. They become one unit by locking their energy together. It's the same with flocks of birds and so on. They're able to do this. And we have this. All animals have this. You notice a couple of dogs fighting. The dog doesn't wait till the other dog comes to bite him. You'll notice the other dog comes to bite him, and he's moved at precisely the same time that the other animal moves. And that's what we've got to get into using our eagle vision. And there's no real specific training for this other than your qigong. Raising up through the back, activating the reptile brain, which is here, at the base of your skull. It's called the brain stem. That's the reptile brain. That's a whole other story. I've got it covered in my other videos and books and articles and everything on my website. So go there and have a look at the articles, learn about the reptile brain. It's a scientific fact that we do have 3 brains and so on. In fighting, we try to get into the reptile brain, of which the eagle vision is, it should be called animal vision really, is a part of the reptile brain. The snake can't focus. Its eyes are just glazed. That's a scientific fact too. That's why a snake is so accurate, because it's using always eagle vision to grab things. We have lots of those in Australia, so I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about snakes. The snake doesn't see me walking and says, oh, here comes Erle, I'm going to wait until he gets here and then I'm going to grab him. It's my body coming close to him, upsetting his energy, that causes the snake to react against me. He's either going to go away, or if I'm too close and tread on him, he's going to bite me. My fault for doing that, of course. And that's exactly the same thing that we try to do in the internal martial arts. We lock our own energy onto that of the opponent. As soon as the opponent moves, it causes our body to move in a certain way. But it's a certain way that our body has become reflex in through the training that we're doing. So once you get through the eagle vision, you can then start to go into the reptile brain. And that's quite an amazing part of your training. It's another story, but that's the highest level. The reptile brain, like for instance, until quite recently, maybe relatively recently, I think it was in the 1930s in Japan, a registered samurai warrior could literally walk down the street, slice someone into 4 different bits, sheath, keep walking, and he wouldn't be taken to task for that, because they said that it was his body that did it and not his mind. And that's what the reptile brain is. We react without thinking. That's what we try to get to. It's like a little dog this big. a vicious dog. Most big men are afraid of a little. We have the capability to kill that little dog, but why? We're afraid of it. Why? Because it's full of this yang energy coming at it. The dog not afraid of us. So, because it has much more yang energy than we have, even a very big person, we become afraid of it because we're yin. What we train ourselves to do is to become that dog and not the human being anymore. So there are certain Qigong methods that we use to train ourselves. The first, of course, is the simple three-circle standing Qigong. Now, a lot of people say, oh, I do that. No, you don't do it. There's so much involved in three-circle standing Qigong. I have not seen many people who actually do it correctly. It is so involved and so complicated, and yet it's just a stance like so. You get one thing wrong in that stance and your whole Qigong doesn't work. You don't go into the reptile brain. You don't feel that activation up the back of your head into gallbladder 20 points, which are the activation points for the reptile brain because they're right on the brain stem. So it's this eagle vision that leads us into the reptile brain. So that when we're attacked, we become a crocodile or a snake or a mad dog attacking the person who's attacking us. It's quite an amazing thing, and it really does work. When you're in a reptilian brain mode, you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, gee, I got into a fight the other night, first time in many years or first time ever, and you know, it was just like slow motion. It was going in slow motion. And that's what happens when we go into the survival mode. It's called the survival brain. Animals don't fight, they survive. That's a nice saying of mine. And everything, when you're in the reptile brain mode, you can see everything around you. And any slight movement causes you to begin to react because you're locked onto the energy of the whole. I warn people, don't come any closer because when you go into the reptile brain, they could be attacked, although I can learn to control it over the years. But that's what happens. You see everything in slow motion. You can see I'm standing at a workshop with 150 people, and I'll be doing this, and I'll say, that person over there just moved your right little toe. And the person will say, gee, I did do that. How did you know that? It's because you can see everything in slow motion. And as people come getting closer to you, your energy's you're starting to put the car into gear now. As they're coming closer, you're starting to put your foot on the accelerator. As they get within your range of fighting, which is about there, that's when you put your foot on the accelerator and let your foot off the clutch, and that's when you attack. But totally subconsciously. That's what the reptilian brain is all about, and that's what eagle vision is all about. So I hope that I've given you some lead-in to this very special way of seeing in the internal martial arts. It really is quite a wonderful way of seeing. But in the beginning, of course, that's all you'll do. You'll just try to do things, picking up your fork or your spoon for your breakfast. Just go and see if you can pick it up, rather than going, oh, where's my spoon, thanks. Get the milk, pour it on your lap for a while until you can get it on the plate without looking at it. Thank you very much.